Sean Meyers here of the Carlow Sports Network, back for another edition of the Celtics Spotlight, joined by Sabrina Skukalek, a freshman setter for the Carlow volleyball team. Thank you for taking the time. You've been the primary setter all season, despite the fact that you're just a freshman. How have you evaluated your play so far this year?
I think so far it's gone pretty well, especially considering a lot of us are new, and we've really had to work to build a connection very fast, whereas like a lot of teams already know their hitters very well. So I feel like so far we've done a good job of like adjusting to getting to knowing each other, as well as like also learning how to play together. So I think it's been pretty good.
Maybe it follows up your statement there, but what areas of your game have you spent the most time working on since you've joined Carlow?
I definitely think moving the ball around a lot more, whereas in high school we had our few really good hitters, so we would just go to them and feed them the ball a lot. Whereas here, since all of the hitters are equally as talented, I've had to learn to move it around a lot more. So.
I've seen you play a few times now, and I know you sort of have a little deceptive shot when you're at the net. Instead of setting it up for a teammate, you kind of dump it over. Is that something that you've always had in your arsenal?
Yeah, I've kind of like picked that up as like towards the end of high school, and like now I think I've used it a lot more because the middles are a lot taller at this level, so you have to kind of learn to get around them without a hitter, because a lot of times you get blocked if you just go right in the middle, especially when it's really tight to the net. So I just kind of had to like adjust to doing that.
You alluded to playing in high school at Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. What have been the biggest adjustments from the high school competition to collegiate volleyball?
Definitely just the size of the players, and Olsh, for the majority of time I was there, was a single A volleyball team, so it was definitely not as competitive. And just simply knowing the people I played with for 4 years and playing with them for so long, it's definitely an adjustment setting people you know for so long to setting new people and learning their preferences. So I definitely think that's probably the biggest.
When you talk about developing that chemistry, in particular with the hitters, how do you improve that?
I think it's honestly just repetition. Like, you start to see patterns of when they're successful with things, and like I know Katie does better with a lower set and Miranda does better with a higher set. Like, you just kind of pick it up seeing like what's successful. So that's usually just how I gauge it. And they'll tell you, obviously.
There's a big freshman class. You're a part of that. How has that group acclimated itself to the team?
Honestly, we just had to, you're kind of forced to. There wasn't really an option, and we all get along super well, and we all enjoy playing with each other. So I think just building that chemistry is definitely going to take time. Like, we already do have chemistry, considering how short we've been together. But with anything, it just takes more and more time. But you know, being so fast, I think we've done a good job.
Katie Tarasovich was your high school teammate at Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. She's now a fellow freshman here at Carlow. Did you and her kind of converse throughout the recruitment process and making your decisions?
Yes, for sure. We definitely made the same choice, like, together. I mean, I made the choice first, and then I was like pressing her to do it too, because I knew that she would enjoy playing volleyball here, and we knew each other so well. So it was kind of perfect.
So you sort of turned into a fellow recruiter for the Celtics.
Yes.
Aside from her, however, were you familiar with any of the other players who are now your teammates before you joined this program?
The only two other people I knew went to Olsh, which is Casey Latch and Anna Marie. But they were older than me, so I only played with Anna Marie 2 years and Casey her senior year, which was my freshman year. So we didn't know each other that well, but we like knew each other from high school.
Talking to Sabrina Skukalek, the freshman setter for the Carlow Celtics here on the Celtics Spotlight. What led to your decision to join Carlow University?
It had a really good nursing program, and it's really close to my hometown. So, and I like knew a lot of the girls. Like, I knew Casey and Anne Marie, and Casey was also a nurse, but she really liked the school. So that's kind of what prompted me to make the decision to come here.
So you're obviously a nursing major.
Yeah.
What went into that decision? What stands out about that field that really attracted you to it?
I feel like naturally I'm very empathetic, and like I want to help people, because I don't want to work where I don't feel like I have a passion for it. So I think nursing's like a good fit for me in that sense.
So your first semester here, correct?
Yes.
I know it's very early as a college student, but is there anything that has really surprised you about college?
Honestly, not really. Maybe just, it's actually a lot more laid back than I thought it would be. The classes are hard, but I think it was really like hyped up to me a lot. It's going to be extremely difficult, and like adjusting will be super hard. But I think since Carlow's so small and like everyone knows each other, it's made the transition a lot easier.
So you attended Our Lady of the Sacred Heart, as we talked about, noted for a pretty good volleyball program. What were the keys in the success of that team?
Well, we had a really good coach, and we honestly just were like really close, all of us. And I think having that chemistry and also just being really good friends in school and outside of school, it made it a lot easier to, play on a team together because we all knew each other.
What was your fondest high school memory?
Well, I think volleyball is definitely my favorite part of high school, so I would have to say going to Whippyals. That was fun.
So you mentioned that your team made the postseason in the WPIAL in high school. Was there a particular team that you thought was the toughest competition you faced during your career?
I definitely think one of the toughest teams was Fraser, and they technically weren't in our section, but we ended up playing them in playoffs, and we always had a rivalry with them, as well as Bishop Canavan. We played them in Whippyals, and they were a really good team. So.
And now one of your current teammates, you went against at Bishop Canavan as well.
Yeah.
Aside from volleyball, did you play any other sports? Did you or currently do you have any other hobbies?
I did play basketball, and I ran cross country throughout my time, but other than that, volleyball was my main sport. And as for hobbies, I don't really have any other hobbies.
It's all volleyball.
Yeah,
all volleyball
much.
and nursing.
Yeah.
And lastly, do you use social media frequently? And if so, which particular one do you prefer?
I use social media a little bit, but not a lot. I use Instagram the most, probably out of all of them. But other than that, not really.
All right. Well, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much, and
Thank
good luck
you.
the rest of the season. That's Sabrina Skukalek, the freshman setter here on the Celtics Spotlight.